Some machines are built to impress. Others are built to express intent. They reveal purpose in every curve and every motion. Not through marketing but through mechanical honesty. You can sense when a design team stops chasing fashion and starts chasing lap times. When the power-to-weight ratio becomes a conversation about rhythm, not recklessness. It is where speed meets strategy, and where the riders will meet the engineer's craft. That is where competition gets personal. Where precision and patience define victory more than horsepower ever could. Today, we explore one of those machines that rewrites expectations about what mid-class performance really means. Engineered for racers who still care about feel as much as numbers. Like, subscribe, and comment on which machine we should dissect next. Your pick could be our next deep dive. The 2024 Suzuki GSX-8R Track Edition marks a pivotal moment for the brand. It represents Suzuki's most calculated step toward reconnecting with riders who value a true race-ready middleweight. For years, enthusiasts have seen the middleweight class caught in an identity crisis. Some machines chase extreme horsepower figures. Others pretend to be track-focused while leaning too heavily toward comfort. Suzuki looked at that tension and decided to rebuild from the inside out. The GSX-8R Track Edition is not an evolution of a commuter-based platform with fancy bodywork. It is a purpose-tuned machine shaped by the lessons of competitive feedback loops from club racers and test riders who demand precision over prestige. At the heart of this motorcycle lies the same parallel twin foundation as the base GSX-8R. But the Track Edition is fundamentally altered for consistency under racing stress. The 776 cubic centimeters engine is not the loudest or the most powerful in its class. Its strength is in its linear delivery and predictable torque curve. Engineers retuned its fuel mapping and optimized the quickshifter response to shorten hesitation between gears. The airbox was reshaped for more direct airflow, and the cooling system was refined for the punishing rhythm of circuit riding where ambient heat and throttle abuse expose weaknesses instantly. Every calibration had to favor repeatable lap performance, not single-lap fireworks. Chassis balance became the second pillar of the GSX-8R Track Edition. Suzuki altered the rigidity balance between the front and rear sections of the steel frame, pairing it with an aluminum swing arm borrowed from their higher-spec development mules. The fork is an upgraded fully adjustable unit that allows riders to dial in preload, compression, and rebound with professional-level precision. The rear shock follows suit, ensuring the Track Edition feels planted during transitions and late braking zones. This is the kind of detail you rarely see at this price point. Suzuki's engineers clearly designed this for riders who treat the track as a second home. In ergonomics, subtlety replaced showmanship. Clip-ons were lowered slightly, foot pegs raised just enough to improve clearance, and the tank shape was resculpted to lock the rider's knees under braking. These adjustments transform how the GSX-8R Track Edition communicates with the rider. The sensation of corner entry becomes more intuitive. You feel the suspension compress and release as a dialogue rather than a fight. That conversation between rider and machine is what defines Suzuki's middleweight racing philosophy. Braking systems received one of the most critical overhauls. The Track Edition uses upgraded 4-piston calipers gripping larger floating rotors with a new pad compound optimized for heat resistance. The master cylinder ratio was revised to give a firmer initial bite without harsh modulation. On the track, this results in a braking feel that encourages confidence deeper into corners. Stability under deceleration matters more than raw stopping power. Suzuki aimed for a system that remains predictable lap after lap, even as tire compounds degrade. Electronics, often the dividing line between accessible and intimidating bikes, are where the GSX-8R Track Edition shows surprising maturity. The traction control system has been recalibrated to handle mid-corner acceleration with fine-grained intervention. Rather than cutting power abruptly, it subtly trims torque to keep the chassis settled. The ride-by-wire system communicates directly with the ECU's refined algorithms, resulting in throttle response that feels both immediate and organic. There is no artificial lag or overcorrection. The programming is track-honed to feel human. Even the display system reflects Suzuki's pragmatic approach. The TFT dash provides key performance metrics such as lap timers, lean angle tracking, and temperature data. It does not flood the rider with gimmicks. Every data point serves a purpose. This machine is not about screen drama, but about real telemetry that can guide setup improvements between sessions. Weight management was another priority. By adopting lighter subframe components and shedding unnecessary street accessories, Suzuki trimmed several pounds compared to the standard model. The result is a power-to-weight ratio that sits in the sweet spot for intermediate racers. Manageable, but fast enough to expose rider errors. In this range, small mistakes cost tenths, not seconds, making it ideal for skill development. The GSX-8R Track Edition embodies the philosophy that speed is the outcome of refinement, not recklessness. Suzuki intentionally avoided the marketing trap of calling it a super middleweight. Instead, they focused on making the chassis communicate with uncanny clarity. When a rider leans into turn 3 at full commitment, the response is symmetrical. The feedback from tires, suspension, and throttle merges into a single rhythm. This is the feeling that seasoned riders chase, and that new racers must learn to interpret. Riding the GSX-8R Track Edition reveals how its engineering choices interact under pressure. The mid-range torque curve, while modest on paper, delivers an addictive push out of corners. It builds thrust progressively, letting the rider roll on early without unsettling the rear tire. Combined with shorter gearing and a refined slipper clutch, it translates into measurable time gains during corner exits. Consistency becomes the real performance metric here, and the 8R excels at it. Suzuki also paid attention to how the bike behaves when fatigue sets in. On longer sessions, the neutral steering geometry reduces rider workload. The seat foam density was adjusted to distribute pressure evenly, and the handlebars transmit minimal vibration even at sustained high RPM. These refinements sound small but matter when you are 15 laps into a test day and every ounce of comfort influences concentration. The 2024 GSX-8R Track Edition, then, is not an adrenaline gimmick but a carefully structured instrument. It does not seek to intimidate, it seeks to teach. Its personality rewards discipline and smoothness. Riders who come from more aggressive machines often find it easier to trust this Suzuki because its limits are communicated early and clearly. It gives feedback before mistakes become penalties. That predictability makes it valuable not only for privateer racers, but also for track day enthusiasts refining technique. It is a platform that scales with your skill. Beginners appreciate its forgiveness. Advanced riders exploit its accuracy. That duality defines why this particular model has sparked such discussion among serious track riders. And yet, the GSX-8R Track Edition carries an understated visual identity. Suzuki resisted the temptation to coat it in excessive graphics or novelty finishes. The aerodynamic bodywork prioritizes airflow stability at triple-digit speeds, not showroom theatrics. Cooling ducts, fairing cuts, and tail vents all serve function over form. You sense an almost old-school restraint in its design language, a reminder that racing credibility comes from results, not decoration. Ultimately, the GSX-8R Track Edition exists to reaffirm Suzuki's DNA in a market segment that had drifted toward lifestyle branding. It shows that the company still understands how to build a machine that feels alive beneath you, not detached behind electronics. It reminds riders why mechanical harmony still matters. When the 2024 Suzuki GSX-8R Track Edition rolls out onto a circuit, everything that seemed theoretical in the garage becomes brutally clear. This is where Suzuki's tuning philosophy gets tested under tire load, brake heat, and rider endurance. Every feature that sounded like engineering detail now either earns its keep or fades into noise. On the first few laps, the 8R feels composed but not intimidating. Its power delivery smooth, its feedback transparent. As the pace climbs, the true difference emerges. Stability. The chassis holds its line even under mid-corner corrections, letting the rider commit earlier on entry and roll the throttle sooner on exit. That composure is what defines the Track Edition's real-world advantage. On the main straight, the parallel twins' mid-range punch comes alive. It may not scream at the top end like a supersport, but it pulls with a relentless, usable urgency. Lap after lap, it maintains pace without overheating or fading in response. In this sense, the GSX-8R Track Edition mirrors Suzuki's long-standing approach to competition machinery. Efficiency over spectacle. The bike doesn't overwhelm the rider. It invites trust through predictability. That trait, more than any dyno figure, separates racers from mere thrill seekers. Under braking, the upgraded system demonstrates why Suzuki's engineers spent so much time perfecting modulation. The feel through the lever is consistent. The initial bite firm but never abrupt. Trail braking deep into apexes becomes second nature because the front end remains composed. There's a confidence that comes from knowing exactly how the suspension will react when weight transfers forward. It's here, in these small mechanical conversations, that Suzuki's development efforts show their worth. Riders can brake later, lean harder, and still have enough feedback to make micro-adjustments mid-turn. That confidence transforms how fatigue accumulates over a session. Where less refined setups force constant mental corrections, the GSX-8R Track Edition frees the rider to focus on rhythm. After 20 minutes at pace, the bike still feels balanced. Its ergonomics preserving posture without numbing hands or tightening shoulders. It's not a comfort-first machine, but its precision ironically makes it less exhausting to ride fast. Smoothness replaces strain. Efficiency becomes the endurance advantage. The engine's linear torque also alters the dynamic of overtaking. Instead of depending on a high rev surge, riders can execute passes mid-corner by holding steady drive and positioning precisely. The gearbox, aided by a crisp quickshifter, delivers instant transitions that minimize power interruption. When combined with the slipper clutch, downshifts into tight corners feel seamless, with no rear chatter. This allows a rider to experiment with lines and braking markers without penalty. In effect, the GSX-8R Track Edition feels like an instructor built into metal and code. The electronics deserve more attention in this context. The traction control, often a point of contention among experienced riders, operates so transparently that it fades into the background. Instead of jolting power cuts, the intervention is feathered. It reacts to wheel spin before it becomes visible or audible, smoothing acceleration and preserving tire life. On a longer track day, this subtlety adds up to real savings. Grip levels remain consistent. The rear tire wears evenly. Confidence stays high. In essence, Suzuki's algorithms work not to save you from mistakes but to make your inputs count for more. Lap consistency is the clearest measure of the GSX-8R Track Edition's balance. In hands of capable riders, the lap times vary less than half a second across extended runs. That uniformity is rare in mid-tier sport bikes. It means the chassis, engine, and electronics complement each other instead of fighting for dominance. When a motorcycle behaves predictably at the limit, it allows riders to refine rather than react. That refinement is the essence of racing mastery. Aerodynamics, though subtle, also play their role. The fairing shape channels air around the rider efficiently, reducing fatigue from buffeting. The wind tunnel work that Suzuki applied here is not about chasing theoretical top speed, but about stabilizing the bike under acceleration and braking. You can feel the front end stay planted as speed rises, a sign of airflow management done correctly. The rear tail design minimizes drag turbulence, making the bike feel calm even at high speed. Another notable trait is heat management. Many track-focused motorcycles suffer from excessive heat buildup that affects both performance and comfort. The GSX-8R Track Edition's redesigned cooling ducts and radiator efficiency keep operating temperatures steady even in demanding conditions. This stability ensures that throttle response remains sharp session after session. It's a small technical victory that translates into a significant real-world benefit. The 2024 Suzuki GSX-8R Track Edition also introduces a unique learning curve. Unlike some rivals that reward aggression, this machine teaches control. Riders who approach it with finesse extract more speed than those who force it. The throttle invites gradual input. The chassis prefers smooth weight transfer. It's a motorcycle that rewards calm precision, reflecting Suzuki's heritage of thoughtful race engineering. For developing racers, this behavior builds good habits early. In private testing scenarios, lap telemetry shows how each system works harmoniously. The anti-wheelie logic prevents front lift without sacrificing drive. The ride-by-wire maintains consistent torque even when traction fluctuates. And the gearbox sensors align perfectly with RPM windows for uninterrupted power. Together, they form a cohesive digital assistant that enhances rather than replaces rider skill. That alignment between man and machine creates what racers call flow state. This flow is where the GSX-8R Track Edition earns its praise. It's the feeling when every corner, every shift, every braking point links in one continuous rhythm. You stop thinking about inputs and start feeling results. The Track Edition enables that connection faster than most machines in its price range. Riders transitioning from novice to advanced levels often describe it as the moment the bike disappears beneath them, leaving only the track and their focus. Beyond pure performance, the GSX-8R Track Edition's durability testing adds credibility. Suzuki subjected prototypes to thousands of kilometers of continuous circuit riding under professional supervision. The goal was to replicate a privateer's season of use. Components like the clutch plates, bearings, and gearbox cogs were analyzed after each cycle. The resulting reliability metrics matched those of much higher-priced race platforms. This attention to longevity reinforces Suzuki's reputation for mechanical endurance. Even in post-ride inspection, the Track Edition tells a story. Brake pads show even wear, tire edges carry smooth feathering, and fluid temperatures remain stable. These signs indicate that the machine's systems work in harmony, avoiding localized stress points. The consistency of mechanical balance here is what allows it to remain approachable for amateurs while still engaging experts. In broader market context, the GSX-8R Track Edition redefines what middleweight means. The segment traditionally balanced affordability with excitement, but Suzuki pushes it toward professional precision. The Nexus Maximus 34 MX 2026 Ford F650 has already begun shaping expectations for the future of personal mobility. Its sheer presence on the road has triggered responses from city planners, regulators, and rival manufacturers alike. Highways built for standard vehicles must now accommodate rolling fortresses that weigh as much as medium-duty trucks yet carry the comforts of a high-end condo. Municipalities are debating parking allowances and emissions zoning for oversized recreational vehicles, while state legislators consider new licensing requirements for operators. In many ways, the 34MX functions as a catalyst. It forces infrastructure and policy to evolve in real time. Beyond logistics, the cultural shift is even more striking. The Nexus Maximus 34 MX 2026 Ford F650 has become a visual shorthand for the self-sufficient lifestyle movement. Owners film cross-country journeys where Wi-Fi, electricity, and comfort follow them seamlessly. In those stories, the 34MX becomes a symbol of liberation from conventional living patterns. Yet it also reveals how freedom and responsibility intertwine. A vehicle of this magnitude demands awareness of its impact. It consumes resources, commands attention, and alters the spaces it visits. For every admirer who calls it the future of travel, there is a critic who sees it as a monument to excess. That tension gives the Nexus Maximus 34 MX 2026 Ford F650 its enduring relevance. It invites conversation about what progress really means when scale becomes part of identity. The engineering itself tells a story of ambition tempered by pragmatism. Designers sought to make the 34MX not only powerful but adaptable to changing environmental standards. Future variants are expected to feature hybrid assistance, capturing energy during braking and supplementing diesel output with electric torque. The goal is to preserve range while reducing emissions. Inside, modular components can be upgraded or replaced as technology advances, extending the vehicle's life cycle. Owners are encouraged to treat it not as a disposable product but as an evolving investment. In that sense, the Nexus Maximus 34 MX 2026 Ford F650 aligns with emerging trends towards sustainable luxury, where longevity and efficiency hold as much prestige as performance. The economic ripple effect is also significant. Entire industries orbit around machines like the 34MX. Specialist service providers, custom fabricators, and accessory makers have built new business models catering to heavy-duty recreational owners. Campgrounds now advertise extended-length sites with reinforced pads, and charging networks explore how to support large-capacity electrical systems. Even insurance firms are adapting their policies to reflect the hybrid classification of truck and motorhome. The 34MX acts as both product and ecosystem starter, generating opportunities far beyond its own production line. For Ford and Nexus RV, the challenge now is managing expectations. Demand has already outpaced supply, and maintaining quality across each custom build is essential. Every Nexus Maximus 34 MX 2026 Ford F650 is assembled with meticulous precision, from the welds on its ladder frame to the stitching on its seating. Buyers expect perfection, and with a price tag in the upper six figures, they receive not only a vehicle but a statement piece. In marketing terms, it has redefined what the top of the RV market looks like. Traditional Class A motorhomes once held that crown. Now the hybrid truck architecture of the 34MX stands as a new benchmark. Yet beyond prestige lies a practical truth. This vehicle showcases how engineering ambition can inspire societal introspection. It raises questions about the balance between personal liberty and shared responsibility. Should innovation prioritize comfort or conservation? Should freedom be measured by distance traveled or resources preserved? The Nexus Maximus 34MX 2026 Ford F-650 does not answer these questions. It embodies them. Each mile driven is both achievement and inquiry. It reminds us that technology, however advanced, still reflects the values of those who create and use it. From an automotive perspective, the 34MX proves that even established platforms can evolve into something visionary. By reimagining the F-650 chassis for a completely different purpose, engineers demonstrated that progress does not always require starting from scratch. It can arise from bold reinterpretation of existing tools. This lesson will likely influence future design strategies across the industry. Already, concept vehicles inspired by the 34MX hint at electrified heavy-duty RV hybrids, using modular architecture and renewable materials. The legacy of this model may not be measured only by units sold, but by the direction it points the industry toward. As the Nexus Maximus 34MX 2026 Ford F-650 continues to roll across highways and through headlines, it symbolizes the ongoing dialogue between power and purpose. It challenges each observer to decide whether mobility's next frontier is defined by size, sustainability, or something entirely new. In our final segment, we look back at what this extraordinary machine has taught us, and what its story reveals about the road ahead for human ingenuity. The 2024 Suzuki GSX-8R Track Edition closes a circle that few modern machines even attempt to draw. It began as an engineering statement, evolved into a track day revelation, and now stands as a cultural milestone for Suzuki. Through all its development choices, one message repeats: mastery matters more than might. In an industry that often chases spectacle, Suzuki built something quieter, smarter, and ultimately more enduring. The GSX-8R Track Edition is the kind of motorcycle that grows with its rider, not against them. It teaches you how to ride better instead of punishing your mistakes. By prioritizing balance and consistency, Suzuki rekindled an essential truth about performance. Confidence is faster than fear. This bike reminds riders that control creates speed, not chaos. It rewards commitment, not aggression. And that subtle distinction reshapes how riders approach the track, how instructors teach, and how manufacturers define progress. The Track Edition is not the loudest or the lightest, but it's among the most honest. When a rider connects with it, the laps start to feel like sentences in a well-written story, each turn flowing naturally into the next. The influence of the 2024 Suzuki GSX-8R Track Edition will extend far beyond its production run. It demonstrates that refinement is innovation, and that a motorcycle can be both forgiving and ferocious when engineered with clarity. Suzuki has proven that the future of sport bikes lies not in extremes but in equilibrium. For enthusiasts and racers alike, that realization changes everything. Every generation of motorcycles leaves a signature. The GSX-8R Track Edition's signature is precision. Its purpose was never to dominate headlines but to redefine what a mid-class sport bike can achieve when every component, from chassis flex to software logic, serves a single goal: rider confidence at speed. That's how legends begin. Not with noise, but with focus. In the end, this motorcycle is a quiet revolution. It doesn't scream for attention. It earns respect through results. It teaches that control is not limitation but liberation. And for Suzuki, it reestablishes a legacy that honors both the racer's discipline and the engineer's restraint. The 2024 Suzuki GSX-8R Track Edition may be tuned for the track, but its real masterpiece lies in how it redefines what precision feels like in motion. Until next time, keep your lines clean, your focus sharp, and your pursuit of mastery relentless.